I go to CS Porter and I'm one of the 4 girls who are on the wrestling team.
Sexism is the discrimination or abuse of someone of the opposite gender.
During meets, we're not allowed to wrestle guys. We can only wrestle girls in our weight class. We can't wrestle guys even though if we are able to. Like if we have no other girls to wrestle, we can't wrestle a guy. We just wrestle another girl from a different bracket. Well, I think we should be able to wrestle guys because if we're ready to wrestle guys and we think we have the ability to, I think we should be able to, because some girls I know on the wrestling team can wrestle guys and pin them very easily. I just don't think it's that fair to girls.
On my bus, there's a lot of sexism. One example is objectification of women on my bus, and the phrase "I'd hit that." Besides the fact that they're in 8th grade, they are saying that women are an it, and it's just, they're not just a thing, they're a person, they're human beings just like men, and it needs to stop. Sexism needs to be ended.
I was working at a local deli here in town, and I had become the supervisor. I worked there for about a year, so I was pretty much in charge, and it was all girls that worked at this establishment, and we ended up hiring a boy, and he worked there for about 2 months, and I was going through the paychecks, because that was my job, was to go through them and hand them out, and noticed that his paycheck was really big, and I thought that maybe he'd gotten a lot of overtime or something, and was wondering why I hadn't seen him around, because I've been working pretty much 40 hours a week, and looked at his paycheck to see his hours and found out that he was getting paid $1 more than me per hour when I was his boss. And I addressed the issue with my employers, and they got really upset about the fact that I had seen the difference in payment and said that I could be fired for talking about my wages with other people.
When I was 6 years old, I was at my best friend's birthday party, and my best friend was a guy because I didn't realize that was somehow weird or different. I still don't think it was weird or different. And I bought him a slip inside. It was this Spider-Man slip inside. It was amazing. So we were setting it up. A boy comes up to me. I forget his name. He was like, "You can't ride the slip inside. You're a girl." And it just rocked my little world, permanently. I could not figure out how that was an issue or how that was relevant, but I knew that it made me sad. But that was my first experience with any kind of gender discrimination. To this day, it still kind of pisses me off.
18, worked as a waitress at a little place, never waitressed before. I wore my normal clothes one day instead of the uniform before I changed into the t-shirt, and all the cooks were standing around and they just looked at me, and they made me feel so uncomfortable. Said nice rack, and they said nice shirt and things like that. It had progressed to a point where I was so uncomfortable, and every time I bent over to put away a dish, they said, "Blow me," or "nice ass," or something. I just kind of smiled, because girls are taught to smile. Girls are taught to be nice. So then I reported it, and everybody freaked out, and all of my shifts were cut. For a month, I had 1 shift instead of my normal 5.
My family has experienced sexism through the generations. My grandmother was told she couldn't play soccer because it was a man's sport. My mom, she was told that she had to look like a Barbie through high school. And now, during my age, it's not as bad, but if you wear sweatpants every day, or if you don't dress feminine, then you're a dyke or a lesbian. Things have to change still. It's not perfect, but at least a girl can try out for a soccer team, and at least you can have a little extra weight on you without being judged.
My story is about a little boy, not too little, about my age. He came into the classroom one day and just said, "Violence is not the answer, unless, of course, it's against women." And I just thought, how mean. I mean, I'm not a girl, but I know that they wouldn't like that. That's my encounter with sexism.
The aged are a forgotten generation. They really are. They're ignored by a lot of society.
Ageism is to believe that older people are sickly, ailing, feeble, unworthy of attention, or senile.
I think probably the first time I was aware of ageism as a potential issue, I was going to a movie theater and I said, "Oh, I can get a senior discount." And the girl said, "I was going to ask you, but I was afraid I'd offend you." And instantly I said to myself, this is wrong. What's offensive about being old?
Out in the working place, out in the world, old people are treated very badly, especially in their 80s. You know, these are my clients as a senior companion.
When I was about 59, I decided I'd go back to teach. So I renewed my teaching certificate, and I was 59 going on 60. And I applied for a couple of jobs, and they looked at me and said, "You're too old to teach teenagers."
When I first took out my first client, we went to Walmart and she had forgotten her credit card. And so she's looking through her purse for her checkbook. And she's going, oh dear, and there's a big line. And the cashier is going, "Well, could you hurry up? Could you hurry up?" And then the lady in the back said, "Well, can she hurry up?" And so she gets out her check and fills it out. And then the register says, "We need some kind of ID." And I thought, oh no. And so now she starts looking through her wallet for an ID, and she's going, oh dear. And there's two people behind the register, a supervisor, and the lady back of me said, "Well, tell her to pull out can't she show her driver's license?" And I said, "She doesn't have a driver's license. She doesn't drive. She can't drive anymore. She's old."
And finally I found one out in the prairie where people said, "Oh, well, maybe you're old enough not to make a damn fool out of yourself," which I thought was kind of an interesting approach to teachers. And I loved it. I loved being a teacher, and I taught until I was 70.
Even though they might be a little bit slower, a little bit more wrinkled, they do have pride, they do have feelings, and they do want to still be part of the world.
A lot of people think that, you know, because I'm a teen parent, I don't know my baby, or I can't tell what's wrong with him, or that, you know, I was out sleeping around, which isn't the case at all.
Adultism is the mistreatment of younger people by older people.
When I first found out I was pregnant, I was 19. I was angry because I wasn't ready to be a parent, but I decided to raise my son and live my life.
Before I got pregnant, I used to put young mothers into stereotypes, like they were sleeping around, they were partiers, irresponsible. And now that I face those stereotypes, it's a lot different. Now I realize what they were going through and how unfair it was for me to do that.
My parents were young parents as well, and I thought they were selfish and irresponsible and not using protection. But I realized that in my own life that all those were wrong.
When I told my parents, my mom and my dad had complete opposite reactions. My mom was really calm and she was really excited about it and was excited to be a grandma, and my dad was really upset and he stopped talking to me and didn't talk to me for 7 months.
I was at the grocery store the other day and they asked me how old my brother was, and it was my son.
Going to the grocery store is hard. I had a lady come up to me the other day and said, "Your mom really likes to space you guys out, doesn't she?" And I was like, "No, this is my daughter." And then she asked how old I was, and I said 22. And she's like, "Oh, kids shouldn't be having kids."
The fact is, since I've became a parent, I've grown a lot and I've become very responsible. And I think that every situation that happens to somebody, it can either hurt you or you can grow from it. And I took this as something that I could learn and grow from, and I did. It made me a better person.
So this one day, me and Maya were walking downtown, and there's this car just sitting there, and we didn't know that anyone was in it. And but there was, and this lady started getting out of the car with her wallet and stuff. She asked us how old we were, and Maya said 20, so I just went along with it.
And then she said that her friend's girlfriend just broke up with him and he needed a real woman to make him feel better. So we got like really creeped out and everything, so we started running away.
And we were 12 at the time, and now we're 13. And now we kind of know that we shouldn't say that we're older.
Yeah. I pretty much just said that because I thought that maybe if we were older, they would think that, you know, they can't get away with stuff.
When I was like maybe second or third grade, kids used to call me zebra sometimes, and I didn't know what that meant, and that's not a big deal to me at all, but when I told my mom, again, she got really upset and talked to my teacher and stuff.
Racism is when people are discriminated against because of their ethnicity.
I came here in third grade, and there was like no one at my school that was African American or even like anything other than Caucasian, and that was a little weird for me, but not that way because my mom is white and my whole family on her side is white, so I'm like nothing different for me. I'm a senior now at Big Sky, and when I was a sophomore, I went to this thing at our school called Diversity Week. So we went to this one video on Tibet. So at the end, the rector's friend came out, and as a pastor, she said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Excuse me?" And she said, "This is an all-white school, you shouldn't be here." And I was just kind of taken like aback because it's like Diversity Week at our school, and she's there to show like diverse things, and it kind of made me question like my standing at my school and like if anybody else felt that way. And I never really thought that because I have such good friends, but that day in that moment I felt different. I think it's important to always know who you are and know that your skin color is a part of you, but it doesn't define who you are. Living in Missoula, because it's a college town and it's really like a liberal town, that racism isn't as noticed in Missoula or even as it's present because everyone is more understanding, and I think that gives people the image that, or the idea that racism doesn't really exist anymore, even though it does.
I go to Hellgate High School, and me and my friend Rebecca Idiakis, she's Mexican, we were walking through the hallways to get to the locker room, and all the Hicks were like standing there and saying stuff to us, calling us dirty Indians or a border hopper or a wetback. Then this big fat girl tried to fight my friend Rebecca, and then I said just ignore it, and we started walking, and then like that girl like threw something at her, and she chased after that girl. And then they started fighting, and I pulled her off her, and then I got punched in the face. It felt really bad. I didn't feel like I was appreciated or anything, and I didn't do anything to them, so I didn't see why they had to call me bad names when I didn't do anything.
Being white and a Native American is kind of weird, because I was in this club when I was younger, which my dad worked with because he works with Native American Studies, and it was a dancing club for Native American dancing. And I remember one time the Missoulian came and they were taking pictures to put in the newspaper, and they got our names down and stuff, and then they asked us if we were Native American. We said yeah, and they said that they couldn't put us in the paper because we were white.
Your education and your color of your skin can be sometimes your biggest hurdle. And in that sense, if that's racism, there's quite a bit of it here on a reservation.
I'm basically half Native American, and a lot of people just don't expect that. And so you're just kind of automatically grouped as a Caucasian.
I happened to go shopping one time down in Shelby, and I went into this grocery store, and I went to pay the clerk with a check. And with other people standing behind me, she asked over the intercom, "Are we allowed to accept checks from Browning?" And I looked at her and I said, "What does that mean?" And she said, "Well, I'm asking, are we allowed to accept checks from Browning?" And I said, "Well, we in Browning, we pay by checks like everybody else." Well, I didn't pay for my stuff. I felt insulted, having everybody waiting behind me. And I asked the girl again, "What does that mean? You know, people from the reservation don't pay with checks. How are we supposed to pay? We didn't do this." And I left my grocery store and walked out.
You're always taught respect your elders, but over the times it's kind of gotten to like me first kind of a world. So it's more on the reservation, it's more respectful, and so the elders really try to teach that, and they try to keep the language going and stuff because their culture is really dying out.
Did you get punished once for speaking Blackfeet? Speaking Indian?
Oh, yeah. God, I ain't found out. She's still living. They was not very proud of me. So, like, now she's talking Indian. That lunch, go to that corner, sister. I had to sit on that corner. One time I met her in town, and she asked me, how do you say this? I said, oh no, I'm not going to tell you. You learn it yourself. So I won't tell you, because I got punished for it. Oh, is that why? You report me talking Indian. You must report me again. So you learn it yourself.
Doesn't matter, really, in the long run, what color skin you have. Only matters how you, use your knowledge and stuff.
Middle school was extremely difficult, and in high school, really bad things happened to me.
Homophobia is the irrational fear of aversion to or discrimination against homosexuals, homosexuality, or people perceived as homosexual.
When I was in 6th grade, one of my best friends, or who I thought was my best friend, led a group of boys, and they actually beat me up on the playground. And, you know, they were like yelling faggot and pushed me down. And in high school, one time this guy tried hitting me with his pickup truck and was screaming faggot. I knew that I was different when I first kind of started developing crushes on boys, and other people were developing crushes on girls. I knew that I was different, but I didn't ever really put a label on it until I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and I remember Real World New Orleans was on, and I was like, oh my God, that's me! Like, gay people do exist! It was really hard to like be one of the only out gay people at my high school for a while, and I remember the times that I came out and felt really, really supported, and the times that I didn't, and that made a really profound impact, you know, just like where it's safe and where it's not, and it taught me to like be gay sometimes and then to like cover other times. NCBI was huge in my life, really provided me a safe place to talk about what I was going through. I've just learned that like the differences you have are what strengthen you most. You are who you are, and the person that you're meant to be is good and whole, and I hope to create a safe and welcome environment for people to be whoever they want to be.
There was an incident when we were doing school elections, and it was around when Prop 8 was passed, and I was talking with my friend about who we should elect in the school, like Denny Rehberg or the Democrat that was running against him. And I said, oh, you should vote for the Democrat because he's for gay rights and gay marriage. And my friend looked at me and she said, oh, then I'll vote for Rehberg because I'm against gays. They're subhuman and they don't deserve the right to marry. I identify as a lesbian, so I thought that was pretty hurtful. Here, there's a joke that goes around is I'm more macho than most of the guys here. So there's not really much joking that I'm the weaker one or that we should attack the female and stuff like that. It's like a really fun, loving atmosphere. It's kind of like a family. This is Gladiators, and we do medieval battles, and it's really, really fun. Well, they completely accepted me because they actually want girls to join, because their joke is if we could get 5 more girls, then technically it'd be a cool club.
I have a gay uncle. And so my parents taught me when I was a little kid that gay people were equal and that they had feelings too. And so when I first heard gay used as a bad thing and all this homophobia crap and all that stuff, I was kind of disgusted that people would do such a thing. They probably haven't even met a gay person before.
Late last summer, early fall, my girlfriend Catherine and I were walking from her house on the north side of Missoula, down the bike path and across I think it's the North First Street pedestrian bridge. And when we started to go up the bridge, we noticed a group of about 4 or 5, like 14 or 15-year-old boys kind of following us, but we weren't really sure what was going on. So we just kept walking. And then once we were on the bridge, we heard them start yelling stuff like dyke and cunt and lesbos and all this stuff. And so we just kind of walked faster, whatever, got to the other side of the bridge, and then they were following us, and they kept getting kind of like closer and closer, and they were yelling more and more stuff, and they were more cussing and more kind of threatening us as we walked. So I got on my phone and called the police, and they came, but they never found them because they were on bikes and they were taking all the back roads and stuff. But it was really scary, you know, and it was daylight when this happened, and we were just walking downtown to get some dinner, and it really kind of ruined the night, and it was really sad. I mean, I feel like I often pass as a straight person, so I don't feel a lot of the homophobia that my friends do. But certainly for Catherine, because she looks more androgynous, she's experienced a lot more homophobia, and when I'm with her, we get a lot more of that directed at us. I think if we acted like any hetero couple that's in love, you know, holding hands or kissing or touching or sitting on each other's laps or any of that stuff that you see on any given night at the Carmike or, you know, downtown, I think we would absolutely get beat up for it. And I know people that have. You know, I really love Missoula and I would like to live here, you know, for the rest of my life, but some days it feels like it might be easier in a bigger city.
I was at the mall with my friend Zach once, and he's kind of a goth, but there's these like 5 guys behind us, and they're just like, "Hey, are you a girl or are you just a fag?" And I'm just like turning around and looking at them.
Then like this dude from Journeys comes out and he's like, "Hey, you guys, shut up."
I think a lot of transgender people are like really, really quiet about it for most of their lives. You know, it's like, how do you just like let this stuff out in a society that's really bi-gendered? I always felt different when I was younger. Like I always felt different in ways I couldn't quite put my finger on. Like things, I just had this like gut reaction to certain things, like feminine things like dresses, and slumber parties were like hell for me because it was like makeup and all this stuff, and I was just like totally like an outsider, just like not interested. I think it wasn't until 2002 or 2003 that I even knew transgender people existed. Kind of got to this place where I felt like it's just something I needed to do because I wasn't letting myself live my life in a way that was happy. People that I've had to like interact with and have had to like tell that I'm trans, like people in public offices, like trying to get my driver's license, like my lawyers, people at Social Security offices, all this kind of stuff. It's like, they're shocked. They're just like shocked and freaked out and all these things. And it's so, I used to get really reactive, but then I realized that this is just new to people. All of my friends have just been really, really incredible with it and really happy for me, and people that were sort of like, I don't know, this is kind of a big deal, you know, hormones and top surgery and all this stuff. And the people, even my friends who are like really concerned now when they see me are like, wow, like this is who you've been all these years, but never, you know, like this. Sometimes life requires you to do things that you don't want to do, you know, especially when you're sort of in in-between stages of trying to figure out your gender identity. And I think it's really hard for us not to feel angry at the world. And I think part of developing that compassion towards other people, to trying to open up, it comes from being able to like open up to people and share your own experiences with people who are safe to share experiences with is just so important. But in my experience, doing that really required me to like look deep inside myself and say, okay, you know, I'm okay, you know, this is okay. And it's sort of a back and forth between your friends and yourself, and like fostering that deep sort of inner love and letting that out to share with your friends. I think it's just the best thing.
I've been through bullying since I was like 5, so I've had a lot of confidence issues about myself. When I came to school, I had even shorter hair than I do at the moment, and I was getting teased about that. People were saying that I was going to the wrong bathroom. They were calling me a dyke or a boy or a he, she. So my school year didn't really begin that well. When I got a form in the mail for Flagship and I saw this thing called Respect Club, I was like, that sounds really cool. Ever since I joined, it's basically been really good for me. My confidence has like improved so much. I have friends now because of Respect Club. In Respect Club, you get to talk about all these issues and your experiences and stuff, and people realize they're not the only ones that are being bullied about things. Racism, sexism, homophobia, all of it, it's bad. It's good to see that there are programs going around in schools that are teaching you to be more respectful, to be more confident, to be an ally to somebody.
I like Respect Club because you can say what's on your mind and not get made fun of for it.
I'm in Respect Club because I want to change the world.
I like Respect Club because I learn about mistreatment and how to change the world.
I like being in Respect Club because it's fun to be around people who get excited about things.
I like Respect Club because they don't care what you dress like. They accept you for who you are.
I like Respect Club because it's teaching me to be a leader.
What I like about Respect Club is pretty much everything, all the fun that we have together.
I like Respect Club because it's somewhere you can go where we recognize our differences as something that set us apart, but bring us together at the same time.
I like Respect Club because it's awesome and fun.
Respect Club is definitely really important because it's a program that reaches out to those who are having troubles that day. It's a place where kids can fall back on. You see new people blossom in there every single day. You don't have to go with the everyday stereotypes of what you're supposed to be like, but you can open up and be who you truly are.
For me, Respect Club is a place where I can make a difference in my community and the world.
I like Respect Club because it's kind of a safe place where you can express your opinions without being judged, I guess.
Respect Club is self-confidence boosting.
I like Respect Club because it's a place where you can be yourself and you don't have to put on a show.
What I like about Respect Club is everything, since you can just be yourself.
I like Respect Club because you can learn and make a difference at the same time.
Not only do we really create deep friendships, but we also get the skills and confidence to truly make a difference in other people's lives.
Courageous.
Artistic. Creative.
Take my hand.
Driven.
Understand.
Opinionated.
The journey's long.
Imaginative.
But we're strong when we're working as one.
Adventurous.
One journey over and another begun.
Persuasive.
So enjoy your time in the sun. You'll be fine. Give it time. You'll be fine. Hold on tight.
Passionate.
Don't lose sight.
Weird.
Just use your heart.
Cooperative.
And that's a start, and it's also the end.
Pixie-like.
The mind is strong, but the eyes pretend.
Excitement.
So enjoy the time that we spend.
Passionate.
You'll be fine. Give it time. You'll be fine. Butterfly.
Inspiring.
Learn to fly.
Random.
Off the page.
Independent.
Out of the cage you've been living in.
Energetic.
One story ends and another begins.
Peaceful.
So enjoy the places we've been. You'll be fine.
Optimistic.
Give it time.
Relax.
You'll be fine.
Loyal.
You'll be fine.
Exuberant.
You'll be